program in New Jersey. From there, I would go on to be recruited to work down here in Washington, D.C. to help do this nationally. I've worked with Governor Bryant, so many good people in the room. And without a second chance, I don't know where I would have been. I'm not sure if I could have stayed sober. I certainly know I wouldn't have contributed the level I did. Next month, I have my first child, a baby daughter, on the way. I have, thank you. I'm married, and I have the ability to be standing here with you, Mr. President. Thank you for taking on criminal justice reform. Folks, this is the public safety issue of our time. This is a justice issue of our time. This is a civil rights issue of our time. This is a prosperity issue of our time. And Mr. President, thanks to you, it's all of our time. God bless you.
Thank you, John. That's incredible. That's an incredible story. And I can't tell you the job he's done. So respected. Across the federal government, we're giving former inmates the resources they need to make the most of their new lease on life. Today, the Federal Bureau of Prisons announced that it will work with employers to help those leaving prison to have a job lined up when they are released, something that pretty much has never happened before. Also, earlier today, the Department of Labor, Alex, that's good. He's done a great job. He's done a good job. Awarded $2 million to states to support fidelity bonds, which underwrite companies that hire former prisoners. We're expanding our Second Chance Pell Grant pilot program to allow individuals to use their time in prison to take college-level classes. That's great. That's great. That's great. The Department of Energy has begun a new initiative to inform American workers, including former inmates, about great jobs in the booming energy industry, and that is a great industry. And just in case you didn't hear me say this before, we've now become the #1 energy producer by far in the world. We're topping Saudi Arabia, and we're topping Russia. Our administration is also working to allow rehabilitated citizens with a criminal record to apply for both federal government jobs and affordable housing, something they were unable to do before. Here with us today is Marcus Bullock, who went to prison as a minor in 1996 and now runs a technology company, and he's doing a very good job. Marcus, please come up and say hello. You're here. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. President. When I was in cell C12, I never thought that I would be standing here on this podium, so I'm going to suck all of this moment up while I'm standing right here. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. When I was 15 years old, I made one of the worst mistakes of my life, and it landed me in front of a judge listening to him sentence me to 8 years in adult maximum security prisons. I grew up in a prison cell, and I'll tell you, that was some of the darkest times of my life. The depression that I fought, the battles on the prison rec yards that I saw every day, they became a big part of me, and they built this dark spirit that my mom began to see, and my mom made a commitment because she wanted me to understand that there was life after prison. There would be potential days that looked like this. And so my mom wrote me letters, and she sent me pictures every day for the remaining 6 years of my prison sentence until I came home so that she can show me the window to the world. And this is why I'm so grateful for what happens around the country, and we're having conversations around the First Step Act and what we're doing now with these second chances, because even once I came home, it was still very challenging for me to get a job. After finally finding a job at a paint store, minimum wage job, and I was very, very grateful just to be able to get a job, and it was really only because of the way that they worded one of the questions on the application. It allowed me to be able to even eventually start my first business after prison, which was a painting business. We ended up hiring over 18 employees, and after the 19th one, we realized that the first 16 were all returning citizens just like me. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. And while we were building opportunities for other men and women to come home and have a great place to be able to work with sustainable employment, we wanted to venture out a little bit further, and in 2012, we started our first tech company. That tech company, Flickshop, is now a venture-backed company that connects families back to their incarcerated loved ones the same way that my mom wrote me letters and pictures when I was in prison. We've connected over 140,000 families around the country, and I'm so grateful because the resources that are flowing back into these prison cells using our tech is building the next generation of entrepreneurs, leaders, business executives like me, and great employees at some of you all's incredible companies. I'm so grateful to be a small part of the solution because we do understand that this crisis is huge. But with you guys' leadership, I feel very, very optimistic about the future of employment. Thank you.
And tomorrow, Marcus will be announcing a run for a major public office. Good job. Huh? You guys, great job. Thank you both very much. Really fantastic. Today, we're also joined by many employers who are hiring former inmates and helping us build the strongest economy on earth. We have some very successful people in this room, and we appreciate it all very much. Thank you very much. Great job. Among the leaders who join us today is Steve Preston, the CEO of Goodwill. Goodwill employs and provides training and other services for more than 100,000 former inmates each and every year. Steve, I want to thank you for the devotion and all that you do for a second chance. Steve? Steve? Yes, Steve.
All right. Right. Well, thank you very much, Mr. President, for your leadership in the First Step Act, and for working with Congress to pass this in a bipartisan fashion. That just sounds great, doesn't it? Yeah, it really does. Because we know that it's not an issue of one side of the aisle or the other. It's an issue for the entire country. And now we all get to work together to ensure that we truly give people who are coming back home a real second chance. You know, we all know about high recidivism rates, but it does not have to be that way. I know, because as the President said, last year alone, Goodwill worked with over 100,000 second chance individuals. And with the right kind of support, those recidivism rates plummet, and in their place come high success rates. So we need to provide support for people to get back on their feet, to stabilize their lives, and so importantly, to find meaningful employment, because it's the promise of that job that often cements the path forward to a sustainable life. And the small investment we make to do that has a return many times over. Not only financially, which I think any of us could prove out, but certainly in the form of lives that are transformed, both for the individuals and for their families. And it's so important that we remember those families in this process. So thank you again, Mr. President, for all that you are doing to be part of it, to advance this important effort. Thank you guys for your stories. These are, like, there's no better testimony than to see what's happening here. And there are other people around the country that have the same experience if they're given the right chance. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And I thought maybe I'd just take a moment. So at the White House, and been with me now 3.5 years before I won, before the election is a person, a friend, a woman, a great, great, magnificent person, actually, named Sarah Huckabee Sanders. And she's very popular. She's very popular. And she's done an incredible job. We've been through a lot together, and she's tough, but she's good. You know, you also have tough and bad, right? She's tough and she's good. She's great. And she's going to be leaving the service of her country, and she is going to be going, I guess you could say private sector, but I hope she's going to, she comes from a great state, Arkansas. That was a state I won by a lot, so I like it, right? But we love Arkansas, and she's going to be going back to Arkansas with her great family. Her husband is a fantastic guy, and her family. And I don't know, Phil and folks, if we can get her to run for the governor of Arkansas, I think she'll do very well. And I'm trying to get her to do that. But I just saw her in the room, and I really wanted to call her up. She's a special person, a very, very fine woman. She has been so great. She has such heart. She's strong, but with great, great heart. And I want to thank you for an outstanding job.
Yes, sir.
And thank you. Come. Thank you, honey. Say a couple of words.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'll try not to get emotional because I know that crying can make us look weak sometimes, right? This has been the honor of a lifetime, the opportunity of a lifetime. I couldn't be prouder to have had the opportunity to serve my country and particularly to work for this president. He has accomplished so much in these 2.5 years, and it's truly been something I will treasure forever. It's one of the greatest jobs I could ever have. I've loved every minute, even the hard minutes. I have loved it. I love the president. I love the team that I've had the opportunity to work for. The president is surrounded by some of the most incredible and most talented people you could ever imagine. And it's truly the most special experience. The only one I can think of that might top it just a little bit is the fact that I'm a mom. I have 3 amazing kids, and I'm going to spend a little more time with them. And in the meantime, I'm going to continue to be one of the most outspoken and loyal supporters of the president and his agenda, and I know he's going to have an incredible 6 more years and get a whole lot more done, like what we're here to celebrate today, and I don't want to take away from that, so I certainly want to get back to the tremendous thing that the people behind me have done, and thank you so much, Mr. President. It's truly an honor.
Great. Great person. Great person. Thank you, Sarah. Great. She's a warrior. You guys know what warriors are, right? Yeah, you're warriors. We're all warriors. We have no choice. We have to be warriors in this world, but she is a warrior. Thank you, Sarah, very much. We're also glad to have with us the president of the Society for Human Resource Management, Johnny Taylor. And where's Johnny? Where's Johnny? Come here, Johnny. And this guy is some guy and some athlete, that I can tell you. So maybe you could just talk a little bit about what we're doing and how well you're doing with it, right? Thank you, Johnny. Thank you.
So I vividly remember December 2018, waking up one morning and reading in the newspaper that Congress had passed and the president had signed the First Step Act. I literally did not believe that would ever happen. And I mean, so much so that I got up and said, I can't believe it. Like, he said he'd do it, but I didn't think it would happen. And here we were. And I realized there were so many people who had worked behind the scenes, people like Mark Holden, who's here in the room from the Koch Industries, So many of you had worked to make this a reality. And the first thing I thought was, what can I do as an American to do my part in this? I represent an organization called the Society for Human Resource Management, and we represent 300,000 HR people across the globe. Our companies employ 115 million people every day. And so we said there's some role that we must be able to play, and instantly it hit me. What's the next step? What we know is that once people get out of incarceration, too often they return because they can't find a job. These aren't bad people, they're people who are trying to survive. And we can play a role in that if we can help remove some of the barriers, those barriers that lead to high levels of recidivism. Again, no one wants to go back. And so what we needed to do is figure out how we could play a role, the country's human resources professionals, to remove the barrier of employment. And so we're bringing bad people back into the workplace. So, went back to my team. It was, of course, a week before Christmas. And they said, wait a minute, what? You want me to work over the weekend? I said, yes. Mark Holden and his team, Jenny's in the room. Jenny, thank you, Jenny. We all said we'd work together on the weekend with my chief of staff and our team. We came up with an idea. Over literally a 1-week period, we launched a website called Getting Talent Back to Work. And we got 1,500 employers across this country to immediately sign to join the movement because we needed employers to commit. It wasn't enough to get people out of incarceration. We needed to get them employed. In a very short period of time after announcing it, with Charles Koch, Richard Branson, myself, we had people just signing up. And so now, all of a sudden, Mr. President, your goal of getting that 5 times the number down to single digits, we're going to do it. And the Society for Human Resource Management. SHRM and our 300,000 members are committed. We're going to play our role. We're going to be warriors to get these warriors back to work. Thank you. God bless you all.
Thank you, Johnny. You'll do it, too. This afternoon, we also have an exciting announcement to ensure former inmates can overcome some of the greatest barriers to employment, including limited access to transportation, which is needed for interviews and for jobs. To make this announcement, I'd like to invite up a very special guest and a powerful advocate for not only justice reform, but just a good person. And I hear she's starting to study law. She's also one of the most successful people in the entertainment business. Soon she'll be one of the most successful lawyers. I hate to tell all my lawyers back there. But I knew her father, and I tell you, she's got good genes, that I can tell you. Good genes for everything. And she's been a real friend, and her husband has been a real friend of mine, Kim Kardashian West.
Hi. It really is such an honor to be here today, so thank you. My whole journey with criminal justice reform started about a year ago when I came to see the president after speaking to Ivanka and Jared, who really fought for me to get here. And I pled the case of Alice Johnson, who the president granted clemency to. And after that, I really spent so much time going to different prisons because I really had no connection to anybody on the inside and really just felt like for me, I am at the place in my life that I wanted to make a difference and just wanted to do the right thing, but I didn't know how or what to do or even really what was going on. And so after going to visit so many different prisons and really sitting down with lifers, with every situation you can possibly imagine, my heart just completely opened up and I wanted to do more. So I started to study the law, which is, law school basically in California. And my attorneys are here today, Aaron and Jessica from Cut 50. Thank you. So the best part of it is I learned so much that I don't even know if, I don't want to speak for anybody in law school, but I learned so much just basically working on memos and being the assistant to them while the First Step Act was happening, and like learning how you get bills passed and working on it from the ground up. So to get the president's support and to see it come to fruition was magic. And the one thing that I just realized that needed so much support that I'm happy to help and be supportive where I can was the reentry of people coming home and seeing the lack of support that really existed, whether it's housing or the amount of letters that I get with people just needing transportation to job interviews, to jobs. These people want to work. They want the best outcome. And I'm so happy to be here today amongst people that want the same thing and that really believe in supporting their reentry. So I'm so happy to announce today that we have a ride share partnership where formerly incarcerated people will be gifted gift cards so that they can get rides to and from job interviews, to and from jobs, family members, and that is so important, so needed. And I just want to thank the president for really standing behind this issue and seeing the compassion that he's had for criminal justice has been really remarkable. So I just want to thank all of the organizations that are, partnering with everything that's going on and really being supportive, because it really does mean a lot to so many people that I've had the pleasure to speak to. And I think the ultimate goal is everyone wants the community to be safe, and the more opportunity we have and that they have and the support that we help give them, the safer everyone will be, and the recidivism rate will be continue to just get lower. And so I'm just thankful to everyone here that's in support and so proud of this partnership with the Rideshare organization. So thank you.
Thank you, Kim. Thank you. Great. I think she's pretty popular, huh? What do you think? I can tell you this, if she is your assistant, she's your assistant, 2 lawyers. She's your assistant. She's the highest paid assistant in history. There's never been anything like it. Anyway, thank you, Kim. That was beautiful. I want to also just welcome here a couple of friends, and they've been really incredible to me. Pastor Darrell Scott, just stand up. He is something. He's a religious man, but I watched him on CNN so often, and I wouldn't say that's the friendliest, and I watched you take apart people like they were nothing. So thank you, Pastor. He's a pastor. 2020, we'll do it again. We're going to do it again. And Pastor Paula White, thank you, Paula. That support has been incredible. Thank you, Paula. Thank you very much. Great job. Right from the beginning, both of them. In every action we take, we are revitalizing our cities, restoring hope to our communities, and uniting citizens all across our country. We're helping families grow their incomes and attend the schools of their choice, earn a great living, and have a truly rewarding career. We want to ensure that every American is prepared for the jobs of today and for the industries of tomorrow, and together we're expanding the blessings of America for every citizen from every background, from every community, and every walk of life. We are breaking down old barriers, tearing down yesterday's obstacles, and replacing the failures of the past with the bright and limitless future. That's what we have going. It's a limitless future. So many people in this room and so many people outside of this room, they're given a second and in some cases a third chance, in all fairness. And I will say they are really, really producing. It's a great thing to watch. You know all about it, and you know about it very well. And thank you. Thank you, Mr. President. We really appreciate you being here. And we'll not stop until everyone in our national family can achieve their own beautiful American dream. Want to thank everybody for being here. God bless you. God bless America. Very much appreciated. Thank you all very much.